not be a breeze, a leaky trip or bolts and seas. Shop talk can help with ease. If it doesn't fit, modify it. If it runs the road or cooks your food, broken in half or a little skewed, shop talk helps now. Listen, dude, if it doesn't fit, modify it. Modify it. Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to If It Doesn't Fit. Little show that we put together here in the shop. Little projects that we do. Try to do some out of the ordinary things. Maybe stuff you have seen, stuff you haven't seen. Right now I'm going to work on another little project I've had in the making for a long time. I'll get the camera and I'll move around and I will show you those things. But basically it's a kind of a homemade side-by-side sort of mishmash out of a couple of things. Four-wheeler and a golf cart. Not the first time it's ever been done. People out there, lots of videos have done it. I'm going to show you how I'm doing mine. I'm not going to film a lot of technical work that I'm going to do. I will show things after I've done them. A little bit while I'm doing it, but I know some videos can be quite long, showing 100% complete processes of how things are done. So if you got some mechanical inclination and you want to do some of these things, feel free to use some of the ideas. If they're not, I'm sure they're not the first, but we'll get underway and I'll show you what we're doing. I'll do a little bit of video on some of the stuff as I'm doing it. A lot of welding, probably some drilling, tapping, maybe some machining. Don't have a machine shop here, but we can get stuff to a machine shop, and there's a place I might be able to use some equipment. I will try to video some of that stuff a little bit here and there. Not going to talk too much further. Get going here, and let's get going. Okay, so here is the golf cart project. It's an old club car. I'm not sure what year it is. I'm guessing it's probably early 80s, maybe late 80s, maybe 1990-ish. It used to be electric. I've taken the rear end out of it, the motor and controller. Well, there wasn't much of a controller. It didn't have any digital stuff, so it could be older than I think it is. Took the body off, obviously. It was pretty cracked and beat up. I got this thing for free. Steering's all complete, steering wheel and steering, front end suspension, everything's here, so it's got a lot of good potential, I think. My plan here is to amalgamate it with this old Suzuki King Quad. So this is a 250 Suzuki King Quad, I believe in 1988, 89, something like that. My choice for this was the reason that I chose it is it has a 100% closed rear end. The gearbox, transmission, engine, everything is all one piece, and it has independent suspension in the rear with CV axles, and it's a semi-automatic. So I want to have a shifter cart is the idea. But I won't need a clutch because this guy doesn't need a clutch. It has forward and reverse, and it's also got high, low, and medium range, which I'll probably use high all the time. But it was four-wheel drive, but it's missing the front differential, so can't use any of that stuff. So it'll just be a two-wheel drive. That's the way the guy was riding this thing before. Runs okay. Needs a little work, but I think later on we can fix those issues, but it does run pretty good. Smokes a little bit, but see what I can do with that. But my idea is to basically cut the frame somewhere just ahead of the engine, cut that off, keep the entire back end, and mount it in here in this area. I've measured. There is enough space, and one of the other things I'm trying to do is I want to also make the entire golf cart a little bit shorter than it was because it doesn't quite fit into the back of a 6.5 foot box or a pickup truck with the tailgate closed. So my plan is to have this thing when I go trailering and camping, and obviously when you're pulling your RV, you need to have your tailgate closed or removed. I'm not wanting to remove my tailgate. I'd like to have it and have it closed and have the golf cart 100% inside. So I'm also going to be making my own body for this thing. My idea is like an old Willys Jeep type body, straight panels, easy to manufacture, easy to make, and I think it's going to look kind of cool, kind of different than what you normally see. Might shorten the steering. I might shorten it down just a tiny bit so I can move the seats forward and put a rear seat also forward because I want to chop about 4 or 5 inches off the back of this thing. I'll also move the wheels forward, and then the body will compensate with the wheels forward. Well, let's get going and see what we can do today. Like I said, I've already tore the body off this thing, taken the rear end and the axle out. Didn't show that stuff, but it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't hard to do. The body practically fell off this thing because the mounts were mostly broken. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll do an update later on. Let's start with disassembly of the quad a little bit. I want to keep the forward reverse lever and the gear range selector somewhere. A little bit of gas in there still. These things come out with a little nut driver in there. So I pulled the levers off, all these knobs off the levers, just so I can remove this plastic. I don't want to break anything because you never know what you're going to need or might be able to use in the future. So I think one of my plans is the reverse lever is I'm going to keep it exposed, but I'm going to probably hide the forward or the high-low range lever maybe under the seat or something. So I might relocate some of these and see if I can separate these lever mechanisms. If I might have to keep them together, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I get some of this stuff apart. Probably not going to use the original fuel tank either. I'll probably put in a flat tank under the seat as well. So I'm just going to pull this apart now and carry on with this build. Okay, so that's that apart. Now I can see what's going on in here. Fortunately, this all looks pretty well like it's all integrated together. This is the four-wheel drive one. Probably can take that off, and I'll probably end up using this mounting plate. And everything's just cables anyways, so for now we'll take it apart and see where we're gonna put it all, where I'm gonna cut this frame and how we're gonna attach it over in that golf cart. So snorkel kit, won't need that. I'll probably put a different air box or put an air filter on it that's a little different. Open this up a little bit in here, make some more space. Get some of this crap out of the way. Alright. Here you got the air box out. Just a few bolts around the outside, nothing crazy. Pull the rubber boot off. This vent. Get this snorkel out of here. So making things a little tougher. Thought it would be easier to come out. Not a huge deal if it doesn't come out yet, but now I can see a little bit more. Some of my shifter mechanisms. Got here composing. Looks like another vent. Not sure where that goes. Looks like we goes to the brakes. Probably learn more when I get the wheel off. I'll take the wheels off, and I'm gonna say that that is a vent, some sort of vent for the brakes. It seems to go right down to the brake mechanism back here. Mechanical brakes on the foot lever, which will be connected to the foot lever on the golf cart. And the original rear drum brakes from the golf cart, I was thinking maybe I might try to incorporate the hubs and try to put them on the front, because the bolt pattern is the same for the front wheels. So we'll see what happens. Tackle that later. So like I said, don't throw anything away. For instance, this four-wheel drive shifter cable, since it doesn't have four-wheel drive anymore, it's a I think it's a diff lock or something for the front. You may be able to use that cable for something else that I want to move, like the shifter itself, because I'm going to have to put in a hand shifter, and it's got some nice linkages here that I might be able to use. Maybe I could use that for my hand shifter instead of coming off the floor. Maybe I can have a console shift. Anything could happen, right? So keep all your pieces, don't lose anything, clips, things like that. Just take your time. Four 10mm bolts in here. Got all my cables off. Disconnected. One, two, that's a tight one. Goes. Keep all your bolts. There it goes. Battery might be almost dead here. And that is our shifting mechanism right out of there. And that is a real nice unit. I think I am going to use this whole thing. So it's our high-low range shifter, forward reverse. And this, like I said, was for the four-wheel drive. It's no longer has four-wheel drive. But I'll probably pull this detent out of it, and I'm going to use this just to shift the cart as a shifter. Yep. I'll probably fashion up some sort of nice console, make a new cover plate, relabel what everything is, and have that kind of centralized the cart. Snorkel line's out. Had to drop the tank down off its mounts. I'll try to get that out of there. I don't even know if I can get it out of there. It's a tight fit, but if not going to matter. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to end up cutting this guy maybe back here. This would be too far forward. I know I would be able to use the mounting for the shifters, but I think for the case of that golf cart, cutting it back here and only dealing with this short little piece, I'll probably end up cutting the back off as well. But it's going good. A little disassembly. Put that little back bumper there. Probably get rid of that. And also I will not be using these wheels. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to see what the stance is like. See how wide it sits when it's in there. Because these rims are very deep on the back side, so they have a an offset. I think positive offset they call that. If you want to go negative, if I get a set of rims that are negative offset, I think the width will be just fine. Stick the wheels out a little further. I may have to change the shocks to something stronger because we're going to be putting a couple more people on this thing. So all in all, I think it's going to be fine. I do have the front shocks. I don't know if I could use them in conjunction with the rears. We'll see how things go. This is my second golf cart build. I did an easy go. It's more factory, but it's got a lift in it and stuff. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that sometime later on. So I'm taking some measurements here. Width seems fine, but my length, like I said, I was trying to shorten this thing down, fit it into a short box pickup truck. My particular truck, a Ram 2500, it's supposed to be a 6.5 foot box, but that measures the edge of the box with the tailgate down. Tailgate up, it's exactly 6 feet, maybe a half an inch more, but that brings me to here. We've got a level attached to the front. I mean, that's me having to take off 16 inches off the back. I don't think that's going to be doable. I can see taking maybe 8 inches off the back, but maybe I can pull some from the front, pull the front wheels back. I'll have to see what I can do. Okay, a little update here. I got all the harness stripped out from the front. I've pulled it all back past this fuel tank. I can't seem to get the fuel tank out of here without pulling the motor out of the frame or something. I'm not sure how it's even meant to come out if you ever had to work on it, but it's the head would have to come off anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this frame now. Once I cut the frame I'm gonna be able to get the tank out. But I've decided to not cut further back. I'm gonna cut up here, right around here, just for the gooseneck, down at the bottom. Keep that upright, because like I said earlier, the original shifter mechanisms was bolting here, and I'm gonna just kind of roll the whole back end of this machine up into here. So I'll have to do some cutting in the back, and maybe probably the center, cut the center out a little bit, but I'm gonna see how it looks, and then I'll just trim away what I don't figure we're gonna need as we fit it together. I'm gonna carry on. Oh, there's the front end, hacked off, sitting on the ground, handlebars intact. Over here is what we've got so far. Kind of just, I cut a couple cross members out going across here. The back bumper here, there was one across here, from side to side. But I've marked off where I need to cut this thing off anyways to try to shorten this thing down. It's not sure it's going to happen or not, but I've also cut one right where the head is there. There's another cross member. I left myself a tab both sides in case I want to bolt a cross member to that and maybe bolt the frame to it. So I'm not sure how this is going to work yet. I left enough on here. I think I'll end up cutting this out and that thing out. That was the old speed controller from the old battery operated. Although it does hold the, underneath it holds the brake cables, but I'm not using those anymore. I might use one cable because I have to connect up to this brake cable here, this lever. So I think I'm going to cut this out, cut that out, and I might be able to bolt here and here. I might be able to cut these off and mount this frame and bolt it here. And with any luck, this guy will end up here. And I'm going to try to maybe put a piece of tubing across or something to bolt that to there, and I should be getting pretty close to staying on the inside of my 10 inches. Maybe not. I have to see. Pretty close. My 10 inches is basically the back of this plate, so I'll end up cutting off the back of this handlebar mount and everything. The muffler's under that plate, so it's under there. And I ended up putting the front wheels on the back here, and I put them backwards. I reversed them, flipped them around. And the wheel stance looks really, really good. It looks like it's going to be pretty much perfect for what we need. Like, it's the width of the cart. Let's slide it over this way, but it's bang on. In fact, it's now wider than the front wheels, but the golf carts always have a narrower front end. You see the tires are on the inside and the front, but we'll work on it tomorrow. I'm calling it quits for tonight. Been out here for a few hours, and obviously it's not going to be on this upward tilt. I might have to cut that top seat bracket off. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, 17 inches has to come out of this thing, so I'm hoping to get 10 inches off the back and somehow getting 7 off the front. So it's gonna be a project. I'm gonna see if I can move these steering wheels back, this front end, at least 6 inches or so. Give me, if I go back 6 in the front and 11 at the back, that will help. I'm really trying to get that thing to fit inside the back of the tailgate of the truck without having to leave the tailgate open, like I said. Plus, I'll make it a nice short little cart. Maybe I'll shorten, like I said, shorten the steering shaft down a little bit and move the seat up just a hair. I'm not a very tall person anyways. And this might end up cutting these sides out here. I might end up taking the where the tire is. I'm going to end up cutting this and cutting it down, taking out, I'm going to take out the dash and everything and build myself a new dash. So I'll end up cutting down here. So I'll have to make like a wheel well here in order to pull that wheel back the 7 inches that I want to go. And also want to go with a narrower tire, a narrower wheel. I don't know if I can get the same diameter as these back ones or not. It's going to be tough, I think. But I'll set to see what they got. In a trailer wheel, maybe a 12-inch tire. I'm not even sure what these are. These are 10s or 12s. I think they're 12s. I'm not sure. See that on there? I know this is probably smaller than this one. Anyways, I'll try to match them up and see what we can do. Either that or I'll maybe go with the golf cart wheels on the back, but then that's gonna drop this little guy down pretty low, I think, once the weight's on it. But stay tuned. If it runs the road or cooks your food, broken in half or a little skewed, shop talk helps now. Listen, dude, if it does